Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Grab yourself a cup of tea and let's talk some boxing. Now, Anthony Joshua has made the claim that Deontay Wilder is not an elite level fighter, and he never really has been. He spoke about the fact that Deontay Wilder has not stepped in with a fighter of the caliber around Anthony Joshua's level. So he hasn't faced the likes of Alexander Povetkin, he hasn't faced an Alexander Usyk. He's faced Tyson Fury twice, but he drew one and lost one. And of course he faced Luis Ortiz. That is his biggest claim, you would imagine, to be an elite level fighter. But when we think about an elite level fighter, who do we think of? We think of the likes of Canelo, Terence Crawford, Inoue, Artur Beterbiev. Those are the kind of fighters we think about when labelling them elite level. Are we going to say that Deontay Wilder is in that category? Yes, he's a heavyweight, a different fighter, and things are different in the heavyweight division compared to the other weight classes. But one thing Anthony Joshua also said was, I've never seen a heavyweight who goes into a fight, or any fighter really, at elite level with only one weapon, and that is his right hand. And that is very interesting because take his right hand away, and what more does Deontay Wilder have? Well, Tyson Fury took his right hand away in that second fight because he was pressuring him, not allowing him to set his feet. So therefore, Deontay Wilder was unable to land that punch. And when he was unable to do that, Tyson Fury had his way with Deontay Wilder because Wilder could not keep him away. Everything that Tyson Fury was doing, he had no answer to. And that is not the mark of an elite level fighter. The mark of an elite level fighter is someone who can adjust, who can make the necessary adjustments here and there to ensure that they can still find a way to get something out of the fight. Now, Wilder proved he was unable to do that, and that is what caused his downfall against Tyson Fury. He was not able to adjust. After the right hand did not work, what else can he do? Now, you would expect him to be a little bit different going into the third fight, maybe trying to throw more combinations to land clean and hard on Tyson Fury to prevent him from coming forwards, because he's going to expect a similar Tyson Fury, one that's going to put him on the back foot and use what worked last time. So we can expect Deontay Wilder to try and break that up, to land clean on Tyson Fury, to make him think twice, because if he lands and hurts him, Tyson Fury isn't going to be so willing to come forwards and push him back. Although, if he is throwing combinations, then it's going to be different. Because yes, he does have dynamite in that right hand, but the only thing is, he winds up with it. The way in which he throws that right hand means he has more power in it. If he is throwing combination punches, then it will be different. He won't have the same kind of power because he won't be setting himself up to throw just one big shot. Now, Wilder isn't someone who throws combinations. He throws punches in bunches, but they are not combinations because he's often kind of slapping at his opponent, and the punches come from here, there, and everywhere. There is no technique to it. I mean, there is with that straight right hand, and with that looping hook as well, but still, there is no real finesse to it. It is just a bludgeoning punch. And it's incredible how he is able to land it and the power he can generate, but he cannot do that when putting his punches together in combinations, which is what he is working on in training with Malik Scott. But future fights aside, and even the last fight with Tyson Fury aside, how can we see that Deontay Wilder has proven he is of elite level? I mean, there are so many fighters in the heavyweight division that he has not yet faced. Povetkin, now retired. Dillian White, Alexander Usyk, who of course is going down the Anthony Joshua route. There is Filip Hrgovic, who is up and coming, so maybe there wasn't chance for him to face Deontay Wilder, but there are so many fighters around there, Joseph Parker as well. Those are fights that Deontay Wilder should have taken, because he was looking to unify. He wanted to be undisputed, one face, one name, yet it is Anthony Joshua who has done the work at becoming a unified champion. Wilder hasn't faced any fighter for a unification, and he's had 10 defenses of his WBC title, reigned for 5 years. So in that time, He did not make any kind of attempt to unify against the other champions, yet AJ was champion for 1 year and already going into a unification fight with Vladimir Klitschko. And it's not just Anthony Joshua, it is Canelo as well, because let's remember, we're talking about elite level status. Of course, there are 2 different weight classes because Canelo is super middleweight, Deontay Wilder is heavyweight. But again, if we were to consider Deontay Wilder an elite level fighter, then you'd be putting him in that same category as someone like Canelo. You look at Canelo's last 5 or 6 fights, and you can see that he has constantly taken the toughest challenges that may come his way. Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, 2 undefeated fighters and world champions. He has beaten them. Yes, there is Yildirim in there as well, but that was a fight he was mandated to take. So that was kind of out of his control. But if you look at the fight he's going to take next against Caleb Plant, so he is constantly fighting these top oppositions and winning as well, finding the remedy for fighting these fighters who, some of them are a lot bigger than he is, punches maybe harder, maybe has this advantage or that, but he always finds a way, moving up to light heavyweight, fighting Sergey Kovalev, giving away size, reach and weight, but still found a way to get the victory and stopped him as well. That is the mark of an elite level fighter. When have we seen Deontay Wilder do that? Yes, he cannot go through the weight classes because he's a heavyweight. He cannot go higher. Maybe he could make a cruiserweight, but I'm not talking about going through the weight classes. I'm talking about going and facing the toughest challenge they can get. Anthony Joshua has done that. Even Dillian Whyte has done that. He'll fight whoever they put in front of him, whoever is willing to turn up on fight night. Whyte's going to get in there and have it with them. But Deontay Wilder has not done that. He hasn't gone down the toughest route. He fought Tyson Fury, yes, I know that that one is going to come up, but what kind of Tyson Fury did he fight in the first one? A Tyson Fury who had just come back after a 3-year layoff and had glorified spars against, who was it, Sefer Seferi and Pianeta. So Tyson Fury had hardly gotten himself back to peak condition, and I'm sorry, I just cannot believe that that was the best Tyson Fury in there with Deontay Wilder. The best was more like the one we got to see second time around, with a different style, yes, but more explosive, with more intent, and keen to go after the fight instead of outwork and outmaneuver his opponent like he has done in the past. So we are definitely seeing a different Tyson Fury. But that aside, what other risks has Deontay Wilder taken? What position has he put himself in where it's going to be a situation, if he's not good enough, he's not going to win? There are no factors like a fighter who is 6 months after coming back off of a 3-year layoff, or a fighter who is, like Luis Ortiz, skillful, technically gifted, but has that age factor, so is always going to fade in fights as well. I'm just wondering, where is the moment where Deontay Wilder steps in with a young undefeated world champion like Joe Parker, or an up-and-coming challenger like Dillian Whyte? There is also the factor of that right hand being the only weapon that Deontay Wilder can use when he gets in the boxing ring. No matter what level he is faced with in front of him, there is always only going to be one thing that he is able to do, and that is get the stoppage with that right hand. Yes, he got a points victory over Bermane Stiverne, but Bermane Stiverne, where would we rank him? Nowhere near the level of fighters that AJ has on his resume in the past 3 or 4 fights. We have seen that a right hand is just not enough for Deontay Wilder. We've seen it's not enough for Anthony Joshua, not enough for Tyson Fury, not enough for Vladimir Klitschko. More is required at that level, and that is why AJ says Deontay Wilder is not and hasn't been an elite level fighter. Anyway guys, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below. Also leave a like and grab that subscribe button. Thanks guys.